Okay.
There'll be an extra fee for that.
Oke deh, sip.
I'll think about it.
There'll be an extra fee for that.
Pakai bahasa Inggris sama apalah.
Got any new commissions?
Lagi pengen
Specifically
demen
one with
bahasa
a huge
Inggris.
more attack, perhaps? Paimon's just being enthusiastic. We're old friends now, she gets it.
It's always a pleasure to see our two most avid adventurers again. Looking for the next challenge, I see. Actually, we do in fact have a rather urgent commission that is still open.
Lagu aja mau gue nyalain.
Having read the details, however, I don't believe you'd consider it to be lucrative.
Kalau bikin sini tidak mungkin seperti itu.
Don't worry about that. We were just kidding. So what's the situation?
To put it simply, the requester is looking for a temporary replacement actress for their musical. The original cast member ran into some issues and is currently unable to perform the role. But the troupe has also been experiencing some financial difficulties, so unfortunately they cannot afford to pay the replacement actress.
That does sound like a tricky situation.
That's right. Our adventurers reached out to many actresses, but none of them were willing to take the job. There are only a few days left until the performance. If they can't find someone in time, they'll probably have to postpone the show. And delays tend to create all sorts of new problems.
Got it. Oh, this one's a doozy. What do you think, Traveler? Any ideas? Even if we took the commission, neither of us have any experience starring in musicals.
If you're interested in helping, why not start by having a chat with the requester? He's right over there. Maybe you can't fill the role yourselves, but you might be able to help him figure out another solution. Maybe there's something he hasn't thought of.
Oh, it's that guy, huh? No wonder, he looks like he just ate a sour lemon. Paimon approves, let's go. Hello there, are you the guy looking for a new actress?
Wait, I know you two! Are you really willing to act in my musical?
Wow, sounds like we're pretty famous in Fontaine already. But to answer your question, neither of us have any experience in musicals. But we heard that you're in a bit of a bind, so we figured we could at least try to help you think of a solution.
Ah, I see. It's okay. I knew that asking for a volunteer was a long shot. If we can't find someone to step in, we'll have no choice but to cancel the show. It would be such a shame. That's the thing. We're not some high-profile theater troupe, just a group of amateur enthusiasts. All our sets and props are very crude. We're grateful enough just to get an audience, never mind ticket fees. If we had a way to make this profitable, things might have turned out differently. But now, it looks inevitable that we'll disband.
Disband? You're splitting up the troupe?
Oh, I guess the lady at the Adventurers Guild didn't tell you? Yeah, this is supposed to be our final show together as one last show. And after that, we go our separate ways. So we were really hoping to end on a high note. Nobody wants things to just fizzle out. Not after all the time and effort we've invested into it. Yeah, the leading lady, in fact. She's been dealing with a chronic illness ever since childhood, and unfortunately, it flared up again recently. The show just won't be the same without her. But for everyone else's sake, I still hope we can find a way to hold the performance on schedule.
Got it. We have a clearer picture now. Let's see if we can come up with any ideas. What if we sponsored the show? Traveler, how much more are you carrying?
Please, there's no need to go that far. I wouldn't feel right asking such a huge favor, and I can't promise that we'd ever be able to pay you back.
Good point. If the actress just goes through the motions for the Mora, that's not exactly rescuing the show. We should find someone who will put on the best performance possible. Oh, wait! What about... you know who?
Kalau si itu. Si itu.
That's how you know we're the best of partners. Anyway, she should have all the free time in the world right now.
Seanggur-anggurnya. Udah nggak Arkon lagi sih.
She's really good at performing, and she was once super popular with the crowd. Performing in a musical should be a piece of cake for her.
Who are you thinking of? Sounds like someone famous.
Furina.
Her? You're... That was a joke, right?
Nope. Paimon doesn't actually know if she's performed on stage before, but Paimon's pretty confident that she'd be really good at it.
You're not wrong there. She has actually performed in a number of big-name shows before. They were one of the reasons she was so popular. But even if she's no longer the Hydro Archon, it's not like she's suddenly a commoner. She's still an idol to many people in Fontaine, including myself. I just think Lady Furina might feel a bit out of place in an amateur troupe like ours. Well, yes, but... Fair enough. I mean, if she was actually willing to, then of course I'd be honored to have Lady Furina star in our show. I'm sure the rest of the troupe would be delighted too. I'm sure everyone in our troupe has probably dreamt of performing on stage with her one day. Of course, it all depends on whether she's interested. She might consider this opportunity beneath her.
No point in stressing about that. We'll only know if we ask her. And besides, things are different now. There's no reason for her to be all high and mighty anymore.
Thank you for your help. I guess I'll just stay here and wait for the good news. Good luck.
Wait, where does Furina actually live nowadays? She used to live in luxury at the Palais Mermonia, but she's, moved out, right?
As it happens, I have her current address here. I can provide it to you.
Oh, no, baru.
Woo! When did you get here?
I came over when things were starting to sound more promising. I thought I should be at the ready in case. It is my duty to support commissioners in any way I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Well, now that we've got the address, we'll go find Furina. Back in a jiffy.
Nyari Furina. Si Oceanit. Terlalu lagunya gue nyalain, cok. Nah. Enak kan? Oh enggak, aduh. Pengen buat traveler gue. Oh, traveler gue. Nah, itu dia. Kalau pengen buat traveler gimana dia tingguan? Kenapa gini?
Just what will we come across this time?
Ini pakai data si pos. Elemental Master. Lah, si Bennett ngapain pakai Elemental Master dah? Kocak bet. Kali ini. Airnya aman. Sip. Tapi dia pakai apa ya? HM aja kali ya. Atau dendro. gitu tapi ini dikunci nih. Gak pakai. Sayang. Cakep. Simpen dulu dah, sayang. Set dah. Bagus juga nih. Nice.
Scatter!
Oh, namanya baru Furina nih.
Did Catherine really give us the right address? She lives here? Not that there's anything wrong with this place. It's just, a bit of a step down from the Palais Marmonia.
You know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode.
Jangan biarkan kediaman seorang di depan. Tapi beda banget Furina.
Okay, when did popping on the thin air become all the rage? First Catherine and now you?
Tapi suara beda sih. Jadi lembut.
I was
Bukan-
just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags. I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came to food. But now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious too.
Bosan.
Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity! It's not like I have a very eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simpler now, too. Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre focilor or blubber profiteroles in no time, if I felt so inclined.
Nah, beda dari A nih. Nggak kayak A, kalau A mah alah, udah nyerah duluan. Kalau Furina masih semangat tuh bagus.
Ah, there it is. You don't know how to
Yo
cook.
bang, halo.
Not yet, maybe, but... Anyway, what are you even doing here? I do hope you didn't come here just to ogle at my fall from grace.
Punya kondisiku.
Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So if you're just here to clown around, then please be on your way. Shoot!
Sorry, we're sorry. Please don't be
Furina.
mad.
Jadi jutek.
Yeah, exactly. What the traveler said. Paimon wasn't trying to make fun of you.
Swear.
Hang on a sec. You weren't exactly holding back either.
My help? Well, maybe you're forgetting that I'm no longer the mighty Hydro Archon. I don't even have a vision, you know.
It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help.
Kami yang lebih bisa atau lebih kepercayaan kalau kami bisa.
Oh? Well, if that's the case, then fine. I'll spare you the lecture about your attitude just now.
Nah, lebih teman ke Furina begini. Lebih adem.
So tell me, what specifically makes this matter so specific? Ah, I see. I knew you couldn't have come all this way just to amuse yourselves at my expense. After all, I was once the brightest star in all of Fontaine,
balik lagi.
well-versed in all the various performing arts. A mere musical is well within my capabilities.
Nah, balik lagi dah sifat lama.
But given the present circumstances, I'm afraid I must regretfully decline your casting request.
How come? It sounds like this would be a breeze for you.
Tiba kamu. Oh, mungkin mentalnya masih naik.
True, but I have made a decision to retire from the stage.
Mentalnya masih kena.
Although I am no longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character has left an indelible mark on me. Centuries of pretending to be a different person changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once was. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too late, and I have no intention of reinventing myself all over again. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to play any new roles.
Paimon can understand. But this is just a one-off part to fill in for someone who's sick. Surely that's okay.
Whether it's a one-off or not, it's a boundary that I've committed to no longer cross.
Bukan batasan.
If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself, which would be the same as not having a boundary in the first place. So I'm not going to perform, and that is that.
Okay, guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else we can do to help out the troupe? Otherwise, they'll just have to disband without any fanfare. Do you know any other actors who might be interested in the role?
Nope.
Short and to the point, okay.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships. Besides, anyone I've ever worked with probably couldn't wait to get rid of me.
Apa mungkin?
Since I'm just an ordinary person now, they'll probably just laugh in my face if I go asking them for help. True, but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with a show they won't even get paid for. Oh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment just thinking about it. Nope, not happening.
Jak turun jadi Archon Hydro ke manusia di gini sih.
Well,
Si Miss.
is there anything else we can do? This performance really means a lot to the guy we're working for.
Have I not made myself clear? You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't want this job, nor do I know of anyone else who would.
Tidak kenal.
Sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. I wish I could help, really. But if I thought I had the answer to this problem, I would have said so by now.
It's all right, Furina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried everything. Oh, everyone in the troupe will be so disappointed. Yeah, I guess that's all we can do now. All right, then. We'll see you around, Furina.
Toodaloo to you, too. I'm going home to take a rest now.
But ini Furina rambut pendek emang wujud aslinya sih ya.
It's too bad, but we have to respect Furina's decision. Maybe the
Udah
thought of
capek dia.
performing brings up too many painful memories now.
Apa namanya? Udah nggak mau berusaha sama drama panggung apa gimana gitu. Mentalnya masih kena.
Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent? When did I tell you I'm going to take a step back?
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now? We know the signs. But you never tell us about your illness, even when it's clearly flaring up.
And that gives you the right to make a decision on my behalf?
Shortly after you left, the troop's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss something else for now? The adventurer assigned to your commission has returned.
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding. So, how did your conversation with Furina go?
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it. She doesn't want to play the role for personal reasons.
I see. Well, circumstances have changed a little, so maybe that's not such bad news after all. You see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the full original cast was always the dream, of course.
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady Furina really so harsh with people?
Only joking, calm down. So, guess we can consider this case closed now. Despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for ideas on the way back here.
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. You've made yourself very clear, so I'll stop looking for a replacement. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is putting everything they have into this final performance. We have to make sure it goes ahead.
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working brilliantly. I'll definitely be able to tough it out until the performance day. I share everyone's desire to commemorate all our years as a troupe with a proper farewell show. So the last thing I want is to be left out. Every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home, myself included.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worried about the show. I should have asked for your permission.
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on.
Wih, gimana nih?
Sure.
Kenapa? Alah, si Furina.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of items on my shopping list.
Furina.
All right, I'm coming.
Tengok
No
kan.
need to drag me.
Tuh.
Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation just now.
Furina? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you doing here?
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. Yes, a teensy bit concerned, that's all. When you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position and said some strongly worded things. And all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I just feel a bit bad about how it went. I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that personally.
You really have a knack for asking the most uncomfortable questions, don't you? I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, you caught me. But in any case, it sounds like the issue has already been resolved.
Yeah. When they said they were gonna ask for your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, How could we be worthy of having Lady Furina star in our show?
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just Furina is fine. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it have to disband? If the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. You could put the shows on pause while you look for a sponsor, for instance. Everyone seems so devoted to the troupe. I'm sure if you keep chipping away, you'll find a way through.
We all want to believe that, but some things are just beyond our control. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director. She was the heart and soul of our troupe. She kept us going.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe. And tragically, she was a victim in this serial disappearances case.
What?
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the true culprit was brought to justice. But still, no sentence can bring our director back to us.
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss Furina. They were what first inspired her to get into musical theater. She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and convinced them to join her troupe. She wrote her own scripts, acted on stage, and mentored each and every one of us. People loved our performances back then. We seemed to be going—
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, the entire troupe fell into disarray. None of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best we can. It's agonizing. But ultimately, we'd rather end things now on our own terms than stick it out to the bitter end.
Oh.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings, who achieved so much and no doubt had much more to give. And then her life was so cruel. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage, is also your final gift for her?
Yes, exactly. We all miss her terribly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I can no longer stand by and do nothing.
Furina.
I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement anyway. I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a highly experienced audience member. But only if you feel this is something that would help, of course.
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the Opera Epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything from on high. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. The court's verdict can settle the question of criminal liability, but what about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart and slowly settle with the passage of time. Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as this I have never witnessed before, and so I should like to observe.
Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues then, huh? You just want to get back in on the action, don't you?
No. This is a completely different situation. Pearls before swine.
The name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Furina's performances, as of course we all are. All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Please excuse the size. It's a little on the smaller.
Gimana tuh? Jauh.
Lady Furina?
What's Lady Furina doing here?
Hello all. Allow me to explain. As of today, Miss Furina will be supporting our production of The Little Oceanid in the role of artistic consultant.
Oh, ini ya namanya. Nama dramanya sebutin.
These two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Furina on our behalf. I'm sure they need no introduction.
You bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't thank you enough.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join in on the fun.
So, you were saying The Little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script left behind by our director. One of our greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring it to the stage and make it a successful show, we can all take some solace in that.
Wait, but if it's not finished, then...
Yeah, we've been battling issues on every front trying to realize this dream. Anyway, let me give you a quick summary of what the story's all about. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who transforms herself into human form, despite the protests of her family. She longed to live just like any other human. And sure enough, she found friendship and even love. But one day, her true identity was exposed, and her world came crashing down around her.
So far, so good. A classic tale. What happened after that?
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. Unfortunately, this was as far as the director got with her script. We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But people have different opinions on which direction to take it in.
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a
Jasa Navi
true-to-life
juga, Pak.
tragedy.
Bang, apa Incer Cons, Ryzen Cons. Gua nggak gacha Navia, apa namanya? Gua lagi nyimpan buat Xianyun, tapi kalau untuk nanti tuh Raiden Shogun sama apa? Weapon Raiden Shogun sama Yoimiya masih mikir-mikir sih. Mending kecap kagak. Soalnya ya, kalau siapa tahu menang Red Off kan dapat sign-nya, apa dapat signaturnya si Shogun atau enggak Yoimiya, lumayan. Tapi gue bau juga udah kebanyakan sih bau. Udah ada Polar sama Aqua, Skyward pula. Tapi kalau ntar si Anyun banner weaponnya bagus, ya udah ntar gue baca di si Anyun aja.
By true to life, you mean the director's sudden disappearance?
Yeah, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw pain onto the audience.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. We have to consider their emotional stake in this, not just our own. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two of our main actors. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending for the script. But the deadline's passed, and the other is Villemont, who plays the main antagonist. He took the director's death pretty hard. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance, but we haven't seen or heard from him.
Although, Now that we have Miss Farina helping us, maybe we should take the opportunity to get everyone back together.
What opportunity?
Maybe you're unaware,
Nggak usah ya.
but
Mungkin kamu
your
itu
name
konten
has always
nomor
been
satu
like a
buat
rallying cry for us.
Our director was constantly singing your praises.
kamu juga
All of us look up to you as a role model.
suka terlihat.
Oh, stop.
Karena bender weaponnya
You're
antara
making me
siapa
all
kalau kayak
flustered. Although, not in a
Boleh.
bad way.
sianya bender weaponnya antara sama si atau kalau ya kalau sampai sama Yae gue kagak, gue trauma cuma Yae dikasih Kagura 2 biji pas gacha polar tuh anjir bener dah. Ntar tiba-tiba pas gacha weaponnya si Anjut kasih Kagura lagi, lama-lama Kagura gue R3 dah. Enggak, yang lama-lama Kagura gue R2 atau R3 dah. Enggak R1. Oh ya R3 bener. Kalau misalnya dapat lagi R3 bangke emang dah. Ntar tiba-tiba gak kerasa R5 Kagura gue. Aduh, Yae tinggal Yae-nya aja belum pulang dah.
I suspect the reason they're dragging their feet is that they have their doubts about whether the show will really go ahead, considering all the issues you've been facing. But one by one, all the obstacles are being removed. Now is the time to rally the troops.
Makes sense. Okay, priority number 1, let's check in with Paulo and see where he's at with the ending. He went back to Poisson a few days ago. Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax and escape the
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was flooded not too long ago. But I guess it's the opposite. A friend in need and all that.
Yeah, maybe he could use some company.
Whistle.
Waduh. Iya keinget kalau misalnya Poison pernah jadi korban banjir gitu. Banyak korban
Nothing.
gitu.
I suppose my presence will be indispensable if we are to restore his faith in the show. So, allons-y. To Poisson!
Ya masih keinget dengan Poison itu ya. Mana ya? Ini tah masih nganggur atau lagi tuh. Ini kalau gue lagi di R2 nih. Kagura gue. Lucu Kagura gue sampai R3. Bener-bener gue pulang bawa Yae. Poison.
If I remember correctly, this is where he's staying.
Who is it?
It's me. Is the script ready?
You came all the way here for that?
All right. Forget that for now. Just come on out. We've got some great news.
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapping up this last part of the script. I'll be out once I'm done.
Okay then. Looking forward to your masterpiece.
So, as expected, he's missed the deadline.
The ending is one of the most important parts of the show. Even once he's done, it isn't final until we've all had the chance to read through and make sure we agree on it.
Someone told me they'd just seen you in Poisson. I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity, but sure enough, here you are. And Farina, too.
I was wondering if we might run into her.
So, you're here for Palo? Looks like he could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime. I've made all the arrangements already.
Oh, it's okay. We can just wait here.
Kenapa?
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds wonderful. We'll take that stroll. Get over here, you! How
Jadi-
oblivious are you?
Untung ceweknya peka dah. Gue malah incer Haran bangke di sepok 2 biji enggul, padahal udah punya enggul sekarang udah R3. Aduh. Udah Radan dan DPS dia bang. Kemarin ngincer Haran malah dikasihnya Saino itu weapon. Aduh, gue juga belum upload video gacha kan tadi.
How are things in Poisson now? Any better?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process. Some people may never recover from the trauma they experienced.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wish there was something I could do.
Please, must our conversations take such a depressing turn every time we meet? We all have painful memories, but we don't have to let them cloud everything we do. And if you're trying to make a new start, perhaps it's best if you don't bring up the past all the time.
Thank you for your words of comfort. You make a very good point. But for now, at least, I think I should stay with the way I'm feeling for a while longer.
It's okay. These things take time. Moving on from a painful experience is easier said than done, which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is ready to forgive and forget after the Hydro Archon's inaction in the face of catastrophe. To avoid upsetting the peace, I told the townspeople that everyone here is a member of the theater troupe, and that you are just an actress playing the role of Furina. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
May ako yun supaya kamot dati.
That's so thoughtful of you, Navi.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate president of Spina di Rosula, after all, like my father before me.
Okay.
Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Off we go then. Let's take a look up there. I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with, so maybe she's right. You're the closest thing to friends that I have.
Akhirnya setelah 15 tahun curhat juga. Waduh, ada orang-orang situ tuh. Bakal bacot nih si Furina nih kayaknya.
I'm so grateful that Miss Navia was so understanding. To be perfectly honest, I didn't know if I was ready to meet her. It's always easiest to just run away from your problems. But that never fixes anything. You can't get around the obstacles without facing them.
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared of coming back here. Still, I felt it was something I had to do. As I was saying before, I want to see for myself the things that I never could in the past.
Ini juga gue lu ada sign bro-nya bang. Iya baru dapat kemarin, gila. Antar deh, beneran serius gue upload the video dah.
I'd be overjoyed if the people here
Enggak,
could
kalau
find it
sign
in
bro-nya
their
gue tuh
hearts
gue
to
nggak sengaja
forgive me.
kemarin gak ini.
But they're more likely to unleash a tirade of vitriol against me, which, of course, I completely understand and accept. Yeah, I can tell people are watching me. I'm sure some people here see the idea of someone coming to Poisson dressed as the Hydro Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially when they had suspicion or resentment in their eyes. I guess I wasn't quite ready for this after all.
I'm not surprised you're making yourself go through all of this.
I can't let myself see only the things I want to see. How would that make me any different from before?
Look! There seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
Probably time we made a move. How about we check out Spina di Rosula's ship? We should have a view of the whole of Poisson from there.
Kasihan juga nih, banyak yang ngomongin Furina. Jelas sih pada kesel sama Furina sih. Nggak mungkin nggak kesel. Oke. Cara naik ke atas gimana?
probably just wanted a relaxing stroll. And here I am dumping all this heavy stuff on you.
We don't mind. It's actually refreshing to see a different side of you.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet.
Aduh. Aduh, gemes banget gue ngeliatin dua makhluk. Oh, juga aku suka.
I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up to who I used to be.
Kata-kata Tanto, aku lakui dengan perintah anak kesepian satu-satu yang rasa mentang-mentang.
As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the rising water out of my mind.
Kita bisa buang-buang bayangan air tuh. Lagunya aduh enak banget. Lagunya enak sial.
One after another, people were taken by the water. All those treasured lives and memories washed out of existence, and they thought their God. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, a divine power would save them from harm. And all the while, I played my part to perfection to convince them that. But then the floodwaters finally came, and the Hydro Archon did nothing.
You shouldn't look at it like that. You're only doing your duty.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, it got harder and harder to bear, and I became more lonely and isolated. Eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of completely failing in my task, and was haunted by the thought of being left all alone, weeping on my throne. Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario thanks to the help of heroic individuals such as yourselves. Everyone rose to their responsibilities, and I finally regained my freedom. But on some level, freedom also means no longer being needed. I have no further use to people.
I would have never imagined you'd see it that way.
Reward? I guess so. Back then, I didn't even dare to dream about having someone to confide in. I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was, and exposing a secret I swore to protect. Believe in the Furina you see on stage. She is the one you can trust. I had to keep all my feelings, all my curiosity about life to myself. No one could be allowed to know. That's what I really meant when I said I'm no good at maintaining relationships.
So that's where you were coming from. Paimon totally thought you were just a bit of a diva at heart.
Could you please get off my case? I don't know what's gotten into you today. I'm making an effort here. You could at least try to do the same. I do. I once had nothing but the truth, and now I'm finally free to live my own life again. And even though I have no idea where I'm going right now, at least the choice is in my hands. All right, it's about time to head back. Paulo should have finished the ending by now.
Sure. Okay, let's head back and check it out.
kasihan dia 15 tahun gak ada temen curhat di tempat kalau sama sumpahnya dia nggak boleh curhat, nggak boleh ngasih tahu apa ngebocorin itu sumpahnya, nggak boleh ngebocorin ini kan rencana. Ntar gue pengen tahu story ini misinya kayak gimana.
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on fried foods, not wolfing down copious quantities of fish and chips, you know?
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at Spina di Rosula's expense. Can you believe how generous she is? I'm not about to pass on free food. Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking. That's your job.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about, it's yours. I've spent my whole life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you willingly ruin yours by filling yourself up with junk all the time.
Oh no, looks like they're arguing again. We're back! Could you maybe put your differences aside for a moment?
You're back. We've been enjoying Spina di Rosula's VIP treatment in your stead. Paulo's nearly done. We shouldn't have to wait too much longer.
Great! So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into a human girl. What about you?
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but he outgrew that role. Well, the costume at least. So now he's playing the boar instead.
The boar's not a bad character, actually. He's the one who raises the little Oceanid, yes?
That's right. He has some pretty memorable lines too. Like when he imparts some solemn words of wisdom to the little Oceanid. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Akan menderita ada kesepian kalau sampai bocor. Resikonya sudah tahu kan? Oh ini sama kayak Furina, dia ngejaga rahasia biar nggak bocor pas itu tuh.
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
Aduh, kayak jangan trauma lagi.
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think it's a symbolic statement about our director's life and legacy. She kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in running our troupe, allowing us to devote ourselves fully to performing. It was only after she was gone that we realized how tough her job.
You mentioned earlier that the troupe is like your home.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness, and once my family found out it couldn't be treated, they decided they didn't want me anymore. I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with various medicines. But whenever I had a bad flare-up, I'd be lying in an alleyway for days at a time. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice and asked if I was interested in studying singing from her. I said yes. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find Mora for my meds, took care of me when my condition decided to flare up. I know it was all a huge burden on her.
She sounds like a really incredible person.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troupe and the people in it. All of us were so proud to call her our director. I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, my parents weren't around when I was little, so I got sent to an orphanage. The other kids were always picking fights with me. They'd say things like, "Come on, you must be pretty tough if you're the son of a murderer." It was just to taunt me, though. One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I lost all faith in humanity by that point. Thought the whole world was out to get me.
Let me guess. Fortunately, the next person you ran into was the director.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I felt safe. And I promised myself I'd stay here until the day the group parted ways.
The day you hoped would never come.
Saat yang paling
How
tidak,
times change.
saat yang paling tidak diinginkan ya. Tapi aku
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's someone I need to introduce you to. This is our new artistic consultant, Miss Furina.
Furina? The Furina? Oh my god, how did you manage to wrangle that?
ada baru sadar.
Please, the honor is all mine. I was profoundly moved to hear about your troupe and your wonderful director. I just wanted to do something to help.
Okay.
Same here.
Even so, this is just... Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'll try to calm down. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of how the story unfolds in my version of the script. I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human, against the wishes of her family. She finds love and friendship in the bustling city. But then, disaster strikes. The people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The soil is becoming arid, plants and flowers are withering, and the people begin to panic. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the fresh water to flee the land, as if driven by a consciousness of its own.
Consciousness? You mean the water is sentient?
Water as a conscious entity. There's actually quite a few stories that explore this theme.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her true identity, as well as the truth behind the crisis. Her lover accepts her for who she is, and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. However, unbeknownst to them, there were some people eavesdropping when she revealed her secret. The little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away, and faces the greatest dilemma of her life.
And then?
In the end, she makes the brave decision to sacrifice herself to save her lover, and the rest of humanity.
Huh? But didn't they all treat Cleo like a villain? Why would she want to save them after?
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover, plus everyone who'd stood up for her.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love, one that extended to all of humanity. Surely the biggest strength of Cleo's character.
There's actually something else that bothers me. You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? And she never had the chance to become a hero in our world. If we're serious about dedicating this show to her memory, we should make the ending as true to life as possible. What about if the little Oceanid is hounded to death by people who hate her, her lover makes sure her secret never gets out, and humanity continues down the path to extinction?
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to me. And perhaps a little irresponsible to present to the audience.
That ending would be a perfect mirror to Director Aureli's death, both arbitrary and meaningless. On the day when she went missing, Director Aureli had instructed us all, somewhat out of the blue, to leave the court of Fontaine and wait for her outside the city. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. By the time we returned to the city, she disappeared without a trace. We looked for her. The Gardamex looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Increasingly, all the signs seemed to point to her being the latest victim in the serial disappearances case.
The director was the kindest soul in the world, yet she was senselessly sacrificed for the sake of a so-called experiment by someone who had nothing to do with her at all.
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that maybe she had some sense of what was about to happen? It almost seems as if she was moving you to safety.
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so far have turned up nothing. Villemont might know something, but he won't open up to me.
Villemont? The one who's playing the role of the villain?
Yeah. He's been overwhelmed by grief. I think the director's death hit him hardest of all.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Also, I have a hard time imagining that anyone took it harder than me. Because, well, speaking of the play being true to life, I was deeply, madly in love with...
What? You kept that one quiet.
It's time to be upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other. We'll never be able to agree on the ending if we can't be honest about how we feel. I did tell her how I felt once, but she turned me down pretty much straight away. She said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she'd never considered us as potential romantic partners. Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. So I told her I'd always be there for the troupe, and I'd always be there for her. I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and on the up and up, and managing the troupe no longer required her constant attention, well, maybe then she could reconsider what she really wanted in her life. And now, that day will never come.
Oh, Paulo.
So if I'm the one writing this ending, then I'm gonna make sure it does right by O'Reilly. I won't let anyone get in the way of that.
In that case, you have to straighten things out with Villemont once and for all, face to face. We've all had our differences of opinion over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye on anything. One of them has to compromise if we're ever going to reach a final decision.
Well, if that's where we're at, looks like it's time to go visit Villemont.
Are you ready to face the truth?
Honestly, I'm slightly terrified. But for the sake of our final performance, I'll do whatever it takes. Funny you should ask, though. You really do get what I'm going through right now.
I certainly do. Come on, everyone. Allons-y!
Oh, ini udah selesai nih, tinggal jelasin. Nah, enak ini. Udah, sebelah dia. Gimana dia
Ad Astra Abyssos.
Si Kalo ya namanya.
Thank you for
Soal Furina punya pengalaman 25 tahun jadi tahu.
Ad Astra.
Kayak itu selesai atau belum? Apa ini ya? Gue barengin sama Furina ya timnya ya? Ya deh. Gue barengin Furina aja timnya.
I have high hopes for this journey.
Prinsipnya nggak ada ya? Oh, ada deh.
This is tough going. Delphi, are you sure you can manage in your condition?
No, we...
I could ask you the same question. Try to keep up.
As if this journey wasn't tough enough already without a roadblock.
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you all looking at me? You're not seriously expecting me to fight, are you?
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever seen Furina in a fight before.
Yeah, but don't you remember why? The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her power so it could be converted into indemnitium. Miss Furina said so herself.
Precisely! And I'm not even the Hydro Archon anymore, so all my power is gone anyway. As much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put. I'm more like a damsel in distress more than anything.
Aduh.
That sounded so smug. Ugh, secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
Ya beginian sih tidak perlu dewa. Masa kamu tak punya ilmu bela diri?
Hey, lay off, all right? My bluff is hanging from a thread here. I'm sorry. I got carried away. Please help us out, would you?
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast my eyes on fight mode Furina.
Sorry to leave all the heavy lifting to you.
Don't worry, piece of cake.
Hello.
Germinate!
I'll settle this.
Yeah! What? Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Stand with me.
Ow.
Propagate! Yeah! Yeah!
Bravo! Good show! You certainly live up to your reputation.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, the path is cleared now, so onwards and upwards.
Mulai rumah dia.
Vilma, are you there?
Huh? Oh, it's you guys. Wait, what's Lady Furina doing here?
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now have everyone except you.
Beruang.
So, you think knowing the truth about the director's disappearance will help you write an ending to the script that pleases everyone? I care just as much as everyone else about making the Little Oceanid a success. That's why I wanted to wait until after the show. If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things difficult between us. We're supposed to be a unit when we're on stage.
Viamant, avoiding the truth will not help anyone. Unless you mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had something to do with you.
I don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Viamant. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. I never brought it up to anyone. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to face everything, to sacrifice everything for the sake of the show.
Dia ini.
The Little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to Aurelie on an emotional level.
This is why people think of you as not being the smart one. As you all know already, the troupe was
Yeah,
kept afloat
terus
not
makan dari
from
hasil
ticket
jalan.
sales, but donations from the audience. Of course, that was nowhere near enough. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then, the troupe's financial situation was pretty dire. So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsorship. In return, we just had to provide the audience with their drinks during performances. It seemed like a win-win, so I said yes to it on the spot without consulting the director. It was only when the merchant came to deliver the goods that I realized
Kasih pedagang menggantikan barangnya.
the drink in question was synth.
Aduh, pantesan sih. Kan di dalamnya ada.
Isn't that the drink peddled by the culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
I freaked out when I saw the boxes. And I told the director everything right away. She was completely shocked as well. But she didn't reprimand me for making the decision without consulting her. Instead, she contacted the merchant and stated that the troupe could not agree to this collaboration.
Cinta itu bahaya, itu dalamnya ada laut primordial, dalamnya campuran dikit.
The merchant was furious, berated us for going back on our word, and threatened to sue us for damages. The amount was astronomical.
And then?
I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue for the whole troupe and it wasn't my fault. But things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and suddenly the director told us all to leave the city one day. I knew then that things must have reached a boiling point. I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, I was even more afraid to say anything. Yeah, I got Aurelie killed. There, I said it.
Hey, don't say that.
You traitor! You knew Aurelie was in danger. Why in God's name didn't you tell us? What do you mean? You were afraid. This was a life and death situation. We could have saved her. How could you be so stupid?
Please, try not to get too worked up.
Yeah, listen to him. You need to...
Stay calm? How can I stay calm? This guy got Aurelie murdered. She was the love of my life. And he has the gall to try and high-road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show. How about taking some responsibility for what he's done?
All I can say is I'm sorry. Truly. I wanted to apologize to everyone in the troupe, but that won't bring back the director. What good is my apology now? I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back. Beat me up if you want. Kill me if you prefer. It's what I deserve. End my life. So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight. Go, get lost. I don't ever want to see your face again.
That's enough! You've screamed and shouted at each other for long enough. Now pipe down, both of you! Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real-life relationships in the troupe? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it as an excuse to vent your own emotions?
You're right.
I'm sorry.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. And you're all used to seeing the director as the heart of the troupe. But in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center of attention. I can tell how much she loved you all. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. To shield you all from the storms that rage in the world outside. That's how you should remember her. And that's what you should be celebrating.
Iya, apa tuh, disuruh misahin perasaan pribadi sama pertunjukan panggung ini. Jangan kaitkan nama ini lah, perasaan pribadi.
I understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story, but isn't she your hero already? After everything she did for you?
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again about what you hope to achieve by arguing with each other. If you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences, then you could just call it quits now. Why bother with the final performance if the group is already fractured?
Mintanya suruh bongkar, suruh bongkar semua rahasia yang ada dipendam. Tapi tau pasti bongkar lama berantem jadi gitu.
But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director Aurelie and the home she built you all to let go. What are you laughing at? I don't see what's so funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, for a moment there, it felt like our director was back with us again. If she'd seen Paulo and Villemont at each other's throats like that, she would have scolded them exactly like you did, in that same stern voice.
Really? But she sounded like such a gentle person.
Of course she was. Even her harshest lectures came from a place of kindness, and it showed. She really was...
What you said, it really puts everything into...
I'm truly sorry. I really meant for this to be a genuine apology, but I ended up making it all about me.
It's all right. Let's save all this for after the performance.
So, the ending. What are we gonna do about it?
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for now and reflect on what really matters. When emotions are running high, things get lost in the fray. The end of the story needs to focus back on O'Reilly herself. She's the true star of the show.
What do you mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that underwater synth base and recovered items belonging to the victims. If you could find anything that O'Reilly left behind, perhaps we can get a better sense of what she went through in her final days.
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story being based on O'Reilly's true feelings.
No.
Well, we'll leave this in your capable hands.
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia. The rest of you, head back to the rehearsal location for now, and wait for our good news.
Balik ke Palace of Memory. Tempat no filler nih. Place Memoria. Kantor Random Village kosong nih. Kalau nggak salah kamera forward di atas ya. Kalau nggak salah aku nggak kalau yang ke atas dia. PSR kapan bang? Tergantung dah. Kalau besok bisa nggak ya? Besok kayak nggak bisa.
You want to review some recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearances case?
Kalau bisa.
But that case has been closed for quite a while. Still, since you were the ones who discovered and submitted the evidence in the first place, you don't actually have to submit an application. Okay, please hold on. I'll have...
So, this is all O'Reilly left behind. Just whatever she was carrying on her person and this tattered old notebook.
Hey! It's full of script lines! And sketches too! Looks like they show where the different props should be placed on stage.
Kayaknya mungkin juga tempat.
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something in here from after she was kidnapped. Aha! I found something. To whoever discovers this diary, looks like she kept a detailed record of her captor's actions. She even mentions the truth behind the experiments on dissolving young women.
Itu segelap yang dibuat penculiknya. Dia bahkan menulis juga kebenaran di balik eksperimen mengeluarkan.
If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back then, it would have been a conclusive piece of evidence proving Vacher's guilt.
Vacher took so many lives. It's still so unthinkable how many victims he had.
I guess O'Reilly must have written all of this down in the hope that her records would one day be of use to investigators. Wait, it cuts off. Her handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. She probably didn't have much strength left. Her final words are... I'll let you read them for yourself.
Ada yang tangkap lagi. Ada yang tangkap lagi. Ini sudah ke orang ke-6 atau sudah ke-7 ya? Ada yang mencoba kabur kemarin tapi gagal. Dia tidak akan belum tentu kemarin sih. Sudah tidak waktu lagi. Ada yang belum tentu kemarin sih. Sudah tidak ada waktu lagi. Tahu nulis ini bisa tidak ada. Ini aku sudah lihat ujungnya tapi yang memberikan lagi. Aku lihat ada orang lain dari rombongan di sini. Saya tidak masalah, lembab sekali aku masuk. Tidak bisa bertahan. Kalau ada yang lihat, semoga rombongan teater selamat. Aku berangkat. Sisanya hanya lirik drama musik. Ternyata dibaca waktu. Sasa
She
terakhir
was
gitu.
so
Bro benar-benar
terrified.
menyimak story. Iyalah cuy. Gue kalau masalah story Arkon, story apa namanya ya? Mau story Arkon, story karakter itu gue nyimak karena seru isinya. Apalagi story dance lebih seru lagi dah. Dia ketakutan banget.
She may have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop, but at the end of the day, she was only human. I can't bear to think how painful and lonely her final days must have been.
Berharap bukunya sih dipakai buat ngebuktiin si pembunuhnya tuh ya. Ternyata ya kepake juga sih.
Wait. This part on the last page sounds strange.
Asing ya. Halaman telah disobek, dilipat dan disesuaikan di sebelah. Tulisan Aurel artinya dibuat dengan sesuai langsung. Kamu menjadi manusia, jangan sampai rahasia ketahuan. Atau akibatnya harus kamu terima. Yakin, yakni penderitaan dan kesepian untuk selamanya.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness.
Sisi terang player GI.
Is this truly what you want?
Saya bukan hanya semacam pecinta waifu saja. Saya pecinta story juga. Pasti gue sudah tahu sekarang kan.
Isn't that the most important line in the Little Oceanid?
Because I am an older sister to them.
Karena aku dilempar.
Oh.
Pengen akhirnya tuh ini kayak berkorban.
So she didn't regret her decision. Even as she sat in silence, I'm sure this is what the troupe would have hoped to hear as well. She had their utmost trust, admiration, and love. Let's go. It's time for them to learn Director O'Reilly's final thought.
Sip. Abis Furina ngapain ya story-nya ya? Ada Novelet, ada Riosli, ada iya ada Novelet, Riosli sama si satu lagi siapa ya? Oh Navia belum kerjain. Jatuh. Tapi pinter dah. Kalau nggak salah tuh kan mintanya Furina aja kan ya. Yang Furina. Masuk. Pasti semua anjir. Iya cowok pada mokat semua MCD itu. Tinggal karakter playable aja dia mokatnya. Nah baca bukannya bisa dia kita boleh maksud. Ada yang mengatakan kayak gitu.
She deserves a hero's farewell. If that's the only way to convey to the audience the courage and selflessness that she showed in the face of death, then it's a meaningful way to end the story.
Even in the last moments of her life, she was still leaving a trail for others to follow.
She did her best to protect as many people as possible, even if it meant sacrificing herself. We know what choice our little Oceanid would have made now. I don't think any more discussion is necessary. Well, Vilmont, if we put the past aside for now, do you think you can bring yourself to go ahead with the show?
I will channel all my regret and put it into my performance to make this a show worthy of our director.
Yeah.
I won't ask for your forgiveness, and you don't need to worry about my feelings. This final farewell show should be about Director O'Reilly and her.
Then it seems like we've reached a consensus. I have a feeling that this will turn out to be the most mesmerizing performance of your life.
Really? How can you be so sure when you've never even seen them perform before?
Don't underestimate my experience. After watching a countless number of musicals, I've learned one important thing.
Berapa banyak aku berarti?
If you want to move the audience with your music, you must fully commit and immerse yourself in your role,
Kan hati penonton
pouring
dengan musik,
all your
kenapa harus-
emotion into your performance.
Kalau pengen batas hasilnya harus menjiwai. Nah, terus-
And aren't human emotions, love, hate, regret, and hope, just the most mesmerizing things in this world? I don't believe anybody could be more committed to bringing this story to life on the stage than they are now.
Sungguh-sungguh.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Miss Farina. And thank you for supporting us through all this.
Then, let's not delay things any longer. We need to discuss the details of the ending and get it nailed down once and for all.
Sedikit seperti-
Actually,
Itu
before
apa
that, I'd like to make a proposal. During the curtain call, please allow me to use the director's name instead of my own.
But then,
After all, this role was originally meant to be played by the director. I'm just filling in for her. Besides, a role commemorating her life should be associated with her name.
Well, if you're sure you're okay with that, I have no objection to it.
Pura-pura nggak mau ikut padahal sepuh drama teater. Iyalah. Masih trauma sih Furina ini, cu. Masih trauma berat, cu, 15 tahun jadi ngeperanin bukan dirinya dia sendiri gitu kan, ngeperan Arkon. Sekarang dia pensiun aja dipaksa ikut drama lagi, cu. Kasihan betul. Nggak dikasih libur dulu gitu kan.
Now we're talking like a serious acting troupe.
Tapi untungnya sih Purna ini dia mau ngebantu sih, tapi dia nggak mau sampai kayak ikutan dengan drama, lebih ke jadi konsultan atau nggak main di belakang yang ngekoordinasiin aja gitu, yang ngurus-ngurusin ya ngatur-ngatur lah pokoknya.
Alright,
Lagi
I'll leave
libur
you
dia,
to
libur
fine-tune
dulu.
your musical while I go and procure a stage.
Procure a stage?
Oh iya, kan dia punya Nevilet, siapkan panggungnya. Udah, Bapak tolong siapin panggung.
oh, it's okay. Our usual place doesn't need a reservation.
Oke,
That place? Oh, don't be silly. For an extraordinary show,
Seperti di mana
we
bisa
need
dipakai.
an extraordinary stage.
yang seperti ini mana
By
bisa
which
dipakai
I, of
panggungnya.
course, mean the opera
Buset
epiclese.
dah. Mentang-mentang Bapak yang Nevilet bisa seenaknya. Yang seperti ini mana bisa pakai panggung biasa. Harus pakai
Whoa,
Nevilet.
wait, what?
Bapak
No,
Nevilet.
no. That's never going to work. It's far too fancy for the likes of us.
What are you afraid of? Surely you don't think that O'Reilly's story is unworthy of the grand...
No, that's not what I meant.
Disuapkan makanan manis langsung mau nanti tuh. Iya. Emang
It
lemah di
is
situ dia.
supposed to be your grand finale, right?
Harus pendek sempurna tidak selesai.
I have no problem with it then.
Dikasih
How about
tempat
the
yang
rest of
paling
you?
dikasih tempat VIP plus sama Purina. Cakep. Boleh lah Purina nih.
I'll take your silence as a yes.
Malah gue lebih senang
Thank you
seperti
for
kayak
giving
gini
us
sih.
this opportunity.
Lebih gimana ya?
It really is a dream
Meskipun masih
come
campur
true.
aduk, masih campur aduk sama sifat lamanya, tapi ada perkembangan lah.
Well, then don't disappoint me. If you mess this up, it'll reflect poorly on me too. Come on, we'll need to get the go-ahead from Nervilette. I
Sepu
know
drama
just
ini
where
loh.
to find him.
Jangan remeh sepu drama ini. Sepu berumur 50 tahun, 15 tahun.
Best of luck to you.
Oke, ini dia mainin lagu, nggak bisa gue interact. Coba ya.
First Miss Furina, now the opera epiclese? If only the director
Ada orang
was
dalam
still
enak lah
with
pakai
us.
tempat mewah, iyalah. Bapaknya ngefilet gimana nggak bisa.
Hey, come on. There's no point in.
Yeah, you're right. Now's not the time to get...
Oke, salah pencet.
First Miss Furina,
Blok
now
lagi,
the opera
aduh.
epiclese? If only the director was...
Hey, come on.
Yeah.
During the final scene, maybe we should stop the music just before Cleo takes the stage?
Jadi di adegan akhirnya apa kita hentikan musik tepat sebelum dimulai? Oke. Yuk, tuh kan temuilah Nevilet. Ketemu sama bapak. Novel. Di mana dia? Oh, sini tuh. Oh, lagi sini nih. Gue pikir di dalam kantor dia. Lagi berenang seperti
Look
dia.
at that! Looks like I guessed right.
You were just guessing?
Nebak.
I knew you'd be here.
Yang wujud asli, Mbak. Wujud asli berang-berang. Print konten. Wujud asli Nevilet.
I'm here merely for a short break. It has been a while, Miss Furina. And you too, traveler in Paimon. What might I assist you with today?
Udah lama juga tidak jumpa dengan Nevilet. Juga. Oh, suka bener gua sama Nevilet tuh anjir.
I would like to book the Opera Epiclese for an event. You see...
Iya, kayak hakim gitu. Salah, berat suaranya. Ceritanya.
I understand. The process for booking the opera epiclese is complex and can be somewhat cumbersome. But given that the request is coming from the three of you, I see no reason to make things unduly difficult. The story of the little Oceanid is most fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing it performed on stage. I will say, however, that I am surprised to see your passion for the performing arts rekindled after all that has happened.
Nevilet juga kaget ternyata sifat apa hobinya Furina itu, hal-hal Furina yang berhubungan sama drama balik-balik lagi.
Huh? What do you mean? Do I look excited?
Yes, and this is the first time that I've seen you like this since your departure from deityhood.
At first, I just felt bad about rejecting them. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about their situation. But one thing led to another, and in the past, we sat in our high chairs in the court, giving our opinions on isolated cases, all while knowing very little about the human stories behind each and every one. Maybe it's because I finally become an ordinary person and gained my freedom, but I've developed a great sense of curiosity about their lives.
I am truly delighted to see you find a new lease on life. Now that you've regained some confidence, have you had any thoughts regarding a return to the stage?
Anak kepercayaan dirimu udah kembali lagi. Udah pengen naik panggung lagi, waduh. Tawarannya itu loh. Tawaran dari Nevilet suruh naik panggung lagi. Hola, halo Gintas.
Why would you suddenly ask
Ditawarin
a
tuh sama
question
bapak
like
tuh,
that?
mau naik panggung lain kan nih, gampang. Kalau masalah panggungnya mah gampang diurus.
Well, if the little Oceanid turns out to be a great success,
Tentu akan
it
jadi
will no
tewa
doubt
aja
become a
kan.
classic. Many theater companies are certain to add it to their repertoire.
Ada banyak rombongan teater lain yang ingin menampilkan.
The experiences and decisions of the protagonist Cleo are all modeled after your own. Naturally, this makes you eminently suited to playing the leading role.
Tuh kan, cocok kan Furina. Emang sama kayak Furina yang dialami sekarang gini.
It would truly be a shame if you did not take this opportunity to allow audiences to enjoy your outstanding acting talents once more.
Haven't I already made myself clear? I won't act or perform in any role ever again. No exceptions. Nor do I think it is any great shame. There is no lack of fine actors or inspirational stories, either on or off the stage. This experience is a case in point. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it has already been well worth the price of admission. I must admit, though, I'm a little envious. They're quite fortunate to be able to bid farewell to their past in such a magnificent manner.
I see. Well, I'm glad to learn that you have found a role to play that you enjoy, be it on the stage or not. I sincerely hope the show will serve as the grandest of finales. I will have my staff book the date and mail the relevant paperwork to the troupe once the details are confirmed.
Thanks, Nervalette.
You are very welcome. Many people were once enthralled by Lady Furina's performances, myself included. I hope that one day she'll be able to understand that our appreciation was always sincere.
Bahwa kesukaan kami terhadap ini. Hah?
Good news, everyone. It's done. The Opera Epiclese is booked. Thanks to my eloquent and impassioned speech, Monsieur Nervalette was moved to provide us with a fitting stage for this special performance. We've had to fight every step of the way for this opportunity. But we now have all of the ingredients necessary to stage a truly spectacular performance. A touching story, a magnificent venue, and last but not least, a passionate and dedicated cast. Now, let's work together and make this show the best it can be.
This is truly wonderful.
The sooner we can finalize the ending, the more time we'll have to rehearse. Fiamma and I just went over some parts of the script and tweaked a few things. I think it's really going to resonate with the audience now.
Wow, you two had a constructive conversation? That's great!
Communication is vital to any good performance.
Look at us. We've come so far. I never could have pictured this scene a few...
It's amazing! Even though Furina's still being a bit of a drama queen about it all, she's really fired everyone up!
Please feel free to give us any comments or suggestions you have. We really value your input.
Hey, Loic, get over here. Time to practice the opening number.
Oke, ini lagi adegannya nih ya. Oke, cakep.
Cursed Cleo. She stole the waters of life from us. She's a fraud, and she must pay for her crimes.
Oh, udah masuk di panggungnya nih.
This has nothing to do with her. The ignorance and hatred of our people is to blame.
Halo bang, halo Ciro.
How can we hope to win back the water's favor if we don't change our ways?
Lalu apa kau pikir orang-orang bebal dan penuh kebencian dapat menang?
This guy could be useful. Take him hostage. If Cleo wants him back, she'll have to show herself.
Leave this place, O little Oceanid, and never, ever look back!
Everyone's really throwing themselves into their roles. I haven't seen such a fine performance in a long time. If only.
Nah, Furina pengen ikutan. Aduh, dia mulai kegoda pengen ikutan nih. Cakep. Ini in-game English voice bang. Iya, gue lagi nyoba. Gue lagi apa namanya lah. Lagi pengen nyoba bahasa Inggris sih. Lagi demen-demennya aja. Sejak Fontaine ini ada, gue jadi demen bahasa Inggris. Apa ya, bagus itu. Pengisi suaranya. Nah, ini di Furina pengen nih, dia nih. Latihan banget suara nih. Pengen ikutan, tapi dia masih takut sama pendapat orang-orang.
What should we do? It's almost time for her to take the stage.
Why does it have to be now?
Hey, what's going on? You're due on stage any second now.
Oh, kambuh lagi penyakit si cewek ini.
Oh no, not again. But why? What about your
Berarti
new
biasanya
meds?
JP.
Did they
Iya.
stop working?
Biasanya JP, tapi sekarang gue lagi nyoba ke Inggris dulu. Lagi demen.
They've been getting less and less effective over time. I've had to keep increasing my dose.
What? I thought they cure it. So they were only
I figured whatever it took to get me through this final performance.
How could you do this to yourself? And after that lecture you gave me about not looking after my health.
I'm sorry. I've let everyone down.
Nah, Furina nih, harus naik panggung nih.
This is a conversation for another time. How can the show go on without its star performer?
Miss Furina, I'd like to make a request of you.
Say no more. If you're sick, you need to rest. I know what you're going to ask.
Itu kalau minta
Loic, your character has no more scenes, correct?
Oh, yeah. I think my scenes are all done. Although, I do have one more line. But I guess another guy in the troupe with a similar voice register could take it.
Please take Delphi back to her place to rest. I'll sing the finale.
Sepuh turun panggung. Iya, betul. Sepuh turun tangan. Lagi demen banget. Baru berapa lama, Bang? Berapa lama? Kayak dari kemarin sih ya. Dari kemarin baru.
From the sublime to the ridiculous. After all that,
Sepuh 500 tahun.
everything's
Sepuh
come
drama
full
500 tahun
circle.
turun tangan.
Thank you, Miss Furina. I'm so sorry to put you in this position after everything you said.
Semua melanggar batas.
Never mind. What's done is done. It's really my own fault for getting in too deep. No one likes regrets, myself included.
Masa aku?
Leave it to me. I've watched you rehearse so many times that I've learned Cleo's part by heart.
I do not doubt your acting skills, but please allow me to ask just one more question. After all, this show is dedicated to the life and legacy of our director. What, in your opinion, is the reason Cleo shines so brightly?
It's her pure heart. Despite all the pain and loneliness she had to endure, she never once stopped believing in the beauty in this world.
Yang indah. Kurang lebih sama kayak Furina. Yang
Well said. I leave Director O'Reilly in your hands.
Oke. Sip. Furina yuk. Furina manggung yuk. Jangan takut. Anjir. Sepuh cowok, seorang sepuh nih coy. Aduh, cakep bener Furina. Oke, sip.
Is she here yet?
Must she get here?
She's not coming!
You're wrong. She's here.
Si je
about your wish?
My wish.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Vision. Tadi perasaan Furina dapat vision kah?
Is it just me? Or was that Lady Furina on the stage just now?
She hasn't been seen for a while now.
Iya, dapat vision.
She
Vision
just
dia.
appears out of nowhere?
Dapat vision tiba-tiba, Cuk.
Gotta say, though, her acting skills are as superb as ever.
The little Oceanid, Cleo, played by Aurélie Fumont.
Wait, that's not her name. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a doppelganger.
I've spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, and they didn't use my name during the curtain call either. Hopefully, not too many people recognized me. It's too bad that I had to break the one clear rule I'd managed to make for myself. Even if I had no choice. Still, I have to admit that, despite everything, it felt good to be back on the stage again.
Finally, we would like to give a special thanks to our artistic consultant and event coordinator, Miss Furina.
Hey, that's not what we agreed on.
Oh, so it was Furina after all.
She's back!
Honestly, what is he doing? He should have run that by me first.
Ini lucu ini. Bener lagu French iya betul. Lucu Furina nih dia pas marah.
All right, calm down. Don't be mad. This was a group decision. We just didn't want your contributions to go unacknowledged. After all, it's been the rule in Fontaine since ancient times that everyone's work, visible or invisible, is equally deserving of recognition.
Yes, I know the rule, but it should still be applied on a case-by-case basis. I wasn't ready for this yet.
It's no big deal. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, yeah? Well, since you think it's so easy, you can sign them for me.
Kalau pikir urusan yang segampang itu boleh sekarang.
This is a great chat and all, but can we talk about that crazy thing that happened during the show? It nearly gave Paimon a heart attack. Paimon flew over to where she was supposed to be and was about to drop the prop vision, and then suddenly, a real one popped out of thin air!
Dia seperti mau nurunin vision bohongan tapi malah.
Oh, that. I've got no idea what happened there either. But hey, it worked pretty well, didn't
Jadi
it?
awalnya pengen lemparnya vision palsu tapi malah vision beneran yang dilempar bener-bener. Iya, gua belum tahu, gua liat sendiri.
I'll bet the audience has never seen such a realistic prop.
Wait, what about Dolphy? I wonder how she's doing.
Oh, let's go check on her as soon as we finish clearing the stage.
Yes. Plus, she'll definitely want to hear how the end of the show went. If nothing else, we can safely say that we accomplished what we set out to do.
Coba ngobrol sama orang-orang sih. Oh, dia ada orang
Did anyone see where Miss
Inazuma.
Furina went? Oh,
Ada
I
orang
want to
Inazuma
get her
nih.
autograph, but I can't find her anywhere.
Nah, tuh, balik lagi Furina di bintang utama. Comeback sepunya.
I thought Cleo's actress sang very well. Why did they swap her out at the end?
I don't know. Maybe that's just how it was scripted.
What a surprise! Seeing Miss Furina on the stage? This ticket was money well spent.
Yeah, I agree. Say what you want about her, but she's flawless when she's on stage.
Sepuh sih, gimana caranya? Nggak bakal mungkin salah. Sepuh soalnya.
I wasn't expecting such an incredible performance from an amateur troupe. They didn't seem out of place on the big stage at all.
Yeah, their technique could use some polish, but the performance in general felt very believable. Hit all the right emotional notes.
Oke, keluar. Tapi yang bikin kagetnya tuh malah yang dikasih itu vision beneran. Itu awalnya kan pengen lempar vision dari atas, kata Paimon bilang. Tiba-tiba malah vision muncul depan muka Furina. Malah jadi realistis pada ujung-ujungnya. Kebetulan. Nggak tau, gue pikir tuh vision tuh kayak cuma gambaran dari dramanya aja, bukan?
Ah, you're back. She's doing okay. Her condition stabilized after taking some of her original medication. From experience, though, I'd say she still needs a few.
How did the performance go? Was it a success?
You'll be glad to know it was fantastic! Also, you're not gonna believe what happened while Furina was on the stage. You'll probably be able to read all about it in the Steambird first thing tomorrow.
That's wonderful. I'm so sorry I failed to see it through to the end. I guess I was wrong to try and tough it out to begin.
No, don't worry about it. Like they told me after announcing my name during the curtain call, everyone's work deserves recognition. Even though you couldn't see it through to the final scene, the audience was very impressed by your performance. It's safe to say that you made your mark on this movie.
Well, one way or another, we did it. I've had bad luck ever since I was born, so I never expect things to go smoothly in life. I'm just happy to know that we went out on a high note.
Blaming your bad luck again, are we? Maybe if you didn't push yourself past your limits so much, your illness wouldn't be flaring up all the time.
Oh, don't you start. I don't have the energy to argue with you right now.
Aw, you two clearly care a lot about each other.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You mean we never stop arguing with each other?
Aduh, mulai lagi nanti dua. Jangan sampai tiba-tiba jadi pasutrin dua orang.
So, any plans for the next step? After the brilliant performance you put on, the reputation of your troupe is sure to spread through Fontaine like wildfire. You won't have to disband if you don't want to. You could capitalize on the rave reviews and license out the Little Oceanit to the bigger theater troupes out there. That would do wonders for your financial situation.
No, we should still disband.
Yeah, it's what we all agreed to.
After all that's happened, I should give you guys some space. But maybe our paths will cross again one day.
Aku sebaiknya tidak terus depan juga.
Hey, don't just walk off!
Masih kesel dia.
I still want to keep performing, so I might join another troupe. After watching Miss Furina's performance, I think I'm starting to understand our director's infatuation with musicals.
You should do it. It suits you. I'd originally hoped to keep performing too, but I don't know if my health will allow me.
Oh, so now you finally got your priorities in order. I guess I'll hold off until you've properly recovered as well. What about you, Miss Furina? Any future plans?
Well, frankly, I think a return to obscurity is no longer an option for me. I'm sure a slew of consultancy requests will hound me wherever I go until I finally acquiesce. You rather sealed my fate there with your special thanks at the end of the show.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. No need to apologize. What I meant to say is that this whole experience has shown maybe Nervilette was right. Maybe Cleo is the right role for me. I still don't wish to pretend to be someone else, but I do have a desire to express myself. So, maybe the show will go on for me after all.
Oh iya, dia pengen ngeperanin karakter dia sendiri gitu. Nggak mau ngeperanin karakter orang lain lagi. Udah capek.
Yeah. There was once a time when I was an actress in a masquerade, but from now on, I want to spend my time learning real stories about real people and how they touch the lives of others around them. I want to watch them blossom and wither, see them refined on the page, retold on the stage, and remembered long into the future. I'm sure this is what captivated director O'Reilly as well.
Sounds like you're ready to stop running from your true calling. The more you get out into the world, the more you'll discover what a fascinating place it is.
Then it's a deal. If a vision is a gift from the gods, then I should do my best to honor it.
Oke, selesai.
It's ironic to think that in my whole time as a god, I could only ever dream of receiving this kind of power.
Dia akhirnya dapat sesuatu yang
And now that the gods have given me their blessing, it actually feels more like I'm finally able to take my fate in my own hand. Is that how humans feel about it as...
I mean, of course I have some regrets, but...
There'll be plenty of opportunities in the future for us to tell the stories that we want on stage.
I'm just finishing packing up. As soon as I'm done, I've got an interview with the Steambird to get. Thanks to all your help, the show was more perfect than we ever could have hoped for. But most of all, I want to thank you for giving me the chance to finally say farewell to O'Reilly.
Now that the buzz is worn off, I feel ready to pass out.
Thank you so much. I feel like I've rekindled the passion I had when I first joined the troupe. It might turn out to be too little, too late for me.
Oh ya, kalau nggak salah ada voice baru di Furina dia.
My story has already come to an end. And so, the next act shall be about our story. In which case, we should probably start charging double for public appearances. I am so happy!
Aduh, mulai lagi Furina balik lagi sifat awalnya.
Once the ancient prophecy came to an end and everything was over, I fell into low spirits for a very long time. People who stand on the stage basking in the adulation of their audience must also bear the pressures of being in the public eye and living up to everyone's expectations. But I knew very well my person wouldn't be enough, and that putting on the act of a god would be the only way to satisfy their adoration. And at the end of the day, all I ever experienced was loneliness. So, there came a point when I loathed the very thought of acting and locked myself in my room. It wasn't until the moment I stood on stage and faced the audience again that I realized the anxiety in my heart had dissipated. The reason I can now stand before the crowd's watchful gaze is perhaps because I have finally started to act as myself. Recently, I've been wondering if I've been a little too hard on myself in the past. In my efforts to maintain the reserved manner of a deity, I never got the chance to enjoy my life. Which is why I've become obsessed with shopping lately. I bought many new precious things, like dazzling rainbow-colored tea bags, fully automated extendable cutlery, and a saddle especially made for riding seahorses. But in the end, I realized that most of the stuff I bought was useless. So I sent them all to the troupe to be used as props in performances. Strange. Before I bought those things, I was certain they would all be of good use to me.
Oke, coba kalau ini fungsinya gimana? Studio ruang diri untuk mulut. Script dia tidak mengambil vision yang muncul ketika tubuh. Ada yang nampak jangan yang ditanggung yang mengenyangkan yang pada rasa seperti itu. Paham pemulihan antara pertanyaan mengenai dan dari layar. Mungkin perlu diketahui bahwa biarpun dirinya terlihat tenang ketika menerima vision, bahkan masih sempat membuat ringan. Sebenarnya bersemangat dan langsung pergi untuk membuat perhitungan dengan salah satu legenda lokal yang pernah sengaja dibuat marah oleh. Sekembalinya dari kegagalan itu, dia tidak menerima dan seluk-beluk visi miliknya panjang malam hingga gedung tempat tinggalnya terendam banjir dadakan. Aduh, bisa-bisanya lagi ngetes vision malah rumahnya kebanjiran. Dari pengelola apartemen tidak boleh bawa peliharaan apapun ke tempat gedungan iya atau apapun juga tidak boleh. Aduh, boleh lah. Tapi itu vision dia dari mana? Kan udah katanya dari Bluefield, nggak tahu juga deh. Wah gila sih pemain mah. Gila lah pokoknya mas Furina nih. Capeknya cuy. Oh ini story, oh nggak perlu kan gue udah ngambil ini. Court of Fontaine. Udah pasti 2 jam ya. No village ya. Tapi ini deh, apa namanya? Kalau nge-story ini berapa lama ya? Kalau yang atau X-nya aja ya? Gue mau nyicil gitu. Apa udahan aja ya? Udah 2 jam sih. Ya dah, nah, apa udahan deh. Udah 2 jam cu, gue masih ada urusan lagi. Aduh ya Allah, astagfirullahaladzim. Oke deh, ini aja untuk live streamingnya dah. Bagus banget tadi story-nya Furina yang pakai bahasa Inggris nih, ya. Apa namanya, performnya tuh Furina, apa namanya, dia balik panggung lagi setelah sekian lama setelah mundur jadi Archon Hydro gitu kan ya. Dan sekarang gue juga tahu sekarang gue tahu gimana cara dia dapat vision gitu ya, dengan cara yang gak terduga sih. Apa namanya, pas lagi bangun tiba-tiba muncul vision depan mata dia. Mungkin gara-gara nggak tahu sih, katanya kalau vision sekarang tuh Hydro tuh dikasihnya menu village bukan nama dewa lagi tuh gimana gitu. Ya, mungkin apa ya, apa namanya?
Being too popular can be such a hassle.
Ntar lu diem dulu deh.
Who knew that?
Ntar diem dulu. Nah, mungkin si siapa namanya ya, si Neville mungkin pas Neville nonton nggak suka kan, dia kan nggak suka tuh, agak lucu gitu pas dia tahu kalau misalnya para Archon kalau ngasih vision tuh, mereka tuh kalau para Archon tuh kalau pakai vision tuh pakai vision palsu. Ya udah dah. Nah, kalian langsung aja nih, daripada pakai palsu kasih gue kasih lo aja nggak asli nih visionnya. Ya udah deh, kasih yang asli. Gila emang. Oke deh, gitu aja. Segitu aja untuk Archon Quest untuk story quest kali ini Furina, bagus banget, dan sampai jumpa di live stream selanjutnya. Bye bye.